This hatch, no one's told them what to do yet. No big deal. There's a pretty good fungal growth going down, and well, there's a lot of infestors back here. You want to be really careful. Okay, he's definitely gonna be putting down infested Terrans. Infested Terrans, of course, very good. Pretty much against everything, just because they're basically like Marines, and Marines are just super good against everything. So, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. All right, looks like Blue did set up an expansion at the position over there. Now, that's not something I totally agree with. If you have some extra money, get up a macro hatch, because an expansion that far away is not really going to help you. Now, if he ever finds it, you're just going to lose. You know, so I mean, you got to be super careful of that. Looks like Big Moon here does have Burrow for his infestors. Of course, I guess he already had that, but you really could abuse that. You know, he could really come over here, try to lay down some infested Terrans or something. Now, of course, you do have to be careful. There is an overseer somewhere. Looks like Shock has an Ultraless Cavern. That's pretty wicked. He actually has no more minerals in his main. Okay, good. He is going to be splitting them up. Looks like Blue here already split them up pretty well, so he's not mined out quite as quickly. But you know, if Blue really gets in here with all these roaches or all these infestors, sorry. No, that's not where you want to put him. That's not where you want to put him. You want to put him by the drones and kill off all the drones. But well, apparently, well, he clustered all of his guys together too. So he's got a big fungal growth, and Blue is definitely not going to be doing so well this game. Not doing so well. Those infestors pretty much didn't help much at all. I mean, I guess the infested Terrans do, but not as much as you would want them to. They're just super good against. Well, I mean, they're just so against roaches, and of course, you're not going to have quite as many. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of hard to do. So, Blue losing that expansion. Green's quickly pulling ahead now, and well, you know, since Blue did not spot this expansion, Shock just going to be winning the game with its. And Blue's not even using this expansion except for a couple of extra guys. So I mean, it might as well have been a macro hatch, you know. And it would have gotten these guys here a little bit sooner instead of making their journey across the map where Green can possibly spot it. Hatcher's going to be going up in the main, and it looks like Green here probably responding to that hatchery. He's probably checking around looking for it. Let's see what else is he doing. He's just kind of sitting back. Ultras are coming out. All right, so he actually does have the +2. Armor upgrade for him as well that you can get at the caverns there. So they actually have 4 armor, which is very strong. Well, 5 total because they start with 1 plus the +2 plus the +2 from the Ultraless Cavern. So 5 armor, that's actually huge because I don't think Big Moon here, well, he's not using Zerglings, but if he did, you know, those Zerglings would do 0, or they'd do 1/2 damage, and that's nothing. So anyways, fungal growth going down. Of course, that doesn't stop the Ultraless. They just plow right through your guys, and well, Blue's going to be, well, hurting here in just a sec. Lost that expansion as well. Actually, sent some roaches to deal with those Zerglings, and that's definitely not what you want to be doing. And that's why you don't take that expansion. You move something slow like roaches out there, you're just going to lose them. And you're not going to be able to use them in battle, is what I mean. So you just got to be really careful of that. You definitely want to expand closer instead of further away, and just try to keep the expansion. And if you lose it, then you're pretty much screwed. But taking a ninja hatchery is just not going to, just doesn't help. You know, just the guys you get from are going to get to your base way too slowly. You know, they take longer to get there than your opponent does. So I mean, it's like, what's the point? I'll just put it in your base. So, and Blue really should just be GGing at this point because well, Green has so many bases. Now, of course, he doesn't know that, but with so many ultras out. And, well, that's actually the good advantage of being the attacker. The attacker, you know, people don't think about this. The attacker actually has an advantage as well. You know, if you do any kind of damage at all, kill like 2-3 drones, and then trade armies, then that's obviously pulling yourself ahead. You know, if you fight in the middle, then of course it's kind of like an even battleground. But if you fight on their end and you're able to trade armies, then, and pick off maybe 1 or 2 things, you know, or at least deal some damage to 1 or 2 things, you know, then you still have an advantage there, you know. The advantage from defense only comes from the fact that your guys pop out at your base instead of having to travel there. So I mean, the defender should have more guys at your base if they have, like, you know, equal armies going back. You know, if they're producing at the exact same time with the exact same units, the defender definitely has the advantage. But if the attacker already has some guys out and he's attacking, you know, and you know, and his army at your base is just as big as your defending army, then he definitely has the advantage. So I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot to consider here. Anyways, everybody pretty much left, so I'm gonna be joining the next one. Alright, once again, I'm the last guy in here. Ah, apparently I'm pink. Oh well. Oh well. See, make sure I'm still going. Alright, so it looks like Jason playing as Terran, spawning at the 12 o'clock here as our dark green person, Mabobber. And, well, his opponent is Mr. Blazed, spawned as our light screen. It's the 3 o'clock position here. So it is Terran against Terran, close air positions. Let's see what these guys do, if they go air or not. Just because it is close air positions does not guarantee they will. A lot of players generally like to go pretty much their standard build against pretty much, no matter where they spawn or what they do. And that's really good. I mean, that allows you to practice your build. But at the same time, you need to think of if you really want to get good and you're at a pretty high level, you need to think about, okay, how long is it going to take me to get to his base by ground? How long is it going to take me to get to his base by air? Think about things like that. How good are drops in these positions? How are, there's just a lot to consider. Like, for example, in these positions, drops and banshees are going to be super good. Ground is going to be fairly decent as well. But your opponent's probably going to be expecting drops and banshees, so he's probably going to be getting stuff against it anyways. Maybe getting a turret back here or something, or a turret up there, and just have some guys roaming around in the middle here to scout for that. Maybe some Vikings and whatnot. So I mean, it is kind of something you have to be careful about. And then of course you do have the watchtowers in the middle. So I mean, if you want to go around the long way, you have to go like really long out of the way to get there. Otherwise, I mean, if you control the watchtowers, you can cut through. But I mean, then you got to gain control, and it really depends on what your opponent's doing. So we'll see. I'm just going to give that again. Hopefully some people will just not talk as much because it's just not a good conversation. Anyways, Blazed here is going to be adding on a barracks and refinery, so he's going to be going some kind of tech play, like getting up a refinery, or I mean factory, maybe a tech lab, something like that. Probably a factory. Generally you see a factory, you see the 111 build, the lots, you see a barracks, then you see a factory, then you see a starports. But sometimes, players do kind of go 2 barracks, 2 factory, or something like that, so it's kind of a weird thing depending on the timing of the expansion and all that. So looks like Jason here pretty much doing the exact same thing, getting up the barracks, getting up the refinery, getting the orbital command up. That's generally the order of things you do it in, and it looks like Blazed is slightly behind those, so dark green here just pulling ahead a little bit. There's the factory going down. Where's the factory for dark or light screen? No factory quite yet. Yeah, it looks like Jason here just a little bit ahead on the workers as well, so Blazed here just not pumping them out quite as quickly. And okay, I was just going to say he's not spending his money or his energy on mules either. So I was going to wonder what he was going to be doing with that. But, well, looks like Jason here adding on that second refinery. So I do believe it's probably going to be a starport next. Maybe not, we'll find out. Here's that factory going on for Blazed. And so, yeah, Jason here just a little bit ahead. Little bits ahead. Well, looks like light screen here did put on a bunker. And I'm gonna just not talk to this person anymore. Spam, you're done, man. Alright, so 3 guys in that bunker. It looks like 4 guys. So I mean, it's just kind of like an early defense against some kind of tech play. Um, Generally, in turn against Terran, you don't really need it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, Hellions might come in, Marines might come in, so I mean, it is kind of something you might want to get, but you might want to scout first and see if you actually need it. Because I mean, that is 100 minerals, that's like 2 Marines you could have had, that's a supply depot you could have had. You know, just getting stuff out a little bit earlier does kind of help your play, especially for Terran. I mean, just having timing for everything is going to be super good and all that stuff. Apparently people are just going to be annoying today. I don't know if this actually does anything against that. I don't know, we'll see if he... Well, people are just going to be douches today. Or kids, I guess I should say. Well, we'll just vote for that. Anyways, starport is finished. Banshee's coming out. He does not have Cloak on the way. However, it looks like Blaze just finished his starports. And, well, Jason here going to be adding on the command center as well. So, I mean, he's going to be getting even more ahead. You know, that's the beauty of it. You know, once you get a little bit ahead, it really helps you a lot to get even more ahead with that. So, I mean, you can get the same number of units while adding on some SCVs and whatnot. So, I mean, you know, if you spend all your money on military, and one person says, okay, I'm going to be building a command center and then spending my money on military, then you can pump out SCVs from both command centers, get up a ton of economy, and then add on even more guys than you would have had initially, you know, just because of that little bit. So, I mean, I think everybody knows that, but I don't know how I can stress this further, because, I mean, it's just a strong concept. Just having something up just slightly earlier is going to help you out quite a bit, you know. Maybe in the late game it could amount to having a huge army compared to him. So, or, you know, like twice the army that he has. So, I mean, it's really something, you know, if you're really good at it and just not so great at it. But, you know, I don't know. It looks like Blaze here heading on a wall of supply depots. Just it really doesn't matter where he puts them as long as he doesn't block his own buildings. I definitely do that when I play Terran. I do have a Terran account. I'm not very good at Terran, but I've, you know, built buildings in such a way where the tanks get stuck always. They always get stuck whenever I play Terran. So, I mean, it's just such a bother. You know, not something you really want to be doing, because then you gotta lift it up if you want to get that tank out and whatnot, and it's just super annoying. But, well, Dark Green's going to be expanding now, and he does have a drop on the way with that Viking to help guard against anything. However, he's going to run right into that missile turret. Holy cow, he's just going to retreat back, and, well, the drop's definitely going to happen because, well, some pretty good missile turret placements here. There really isn't much of an area, you know, once this one's up, this one in the corner here is up, there's really not much of an area for Dark Green, you know, Jason to drop. Maybe here, that would work out, but that's awfully close to the ramp where, you know, Light Green has his units, so... well, Jason's actually doing a really good job with that, but at the same time, it is a lot of missile turrets that he has up there. You know, it's a pretty big investment. Maybe not something you always want to be doing, but Blaze here getting up that medevac and that Raven, so he's going to be doing a drop instead, and Jason here just doesn't have the anti-air. So Jason, you're probably going to be getting hit pretty hard, just not scouting. You know, you want to scout your opponent and have something at its base attacking constantly, because then you see stuff. You know, this won't happen. And if he just had Vikings patrolling around this middle area, or, you know, and a guy at the watchtower, he could have defended against this much easier. You know, because if you see something at the watchtower, then obviously he's going to be pushing the front by ground. And you need to move your units over there. Otherwise, you can keep your Vikings around in the back of your base and just kind of watch out for drops. I mean, that's just a good economical way to do it if you already have Vikings out. So, I mean, if Jason ever, well, if he is listening to the stream, or if he ever decides to watch this video, that's something I definitely recommend to him. Just keep, you know, Vikings around, you know, just, you know, in the back of your base here. And keep a guy at the watchtowers. I mean, that's just... I don't know how to stress it any differently. I mean, that's just going to be so strong of a play, just to have, you know, be able to watch the front while watching the back. Because otherwise, stuff like that's going to keep happening, and you're going to lose a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure how much Jason actually lost there. I should have paid more attention to it. I guess I go a little bit more too deep into analysis sometimes, but it looks like Jason's going to be just fine, especially with that later command center from Blaze. You know, like I said, you know, getting that command center up earlier will help you get a better economy now, so that you can have a better military than your opponent does later on. And, well, Blaze here just going so much of a tech path, getting so much different stuff. Let's look at that he's spending. Yeah, I mean, He's lower on SCVs, actually much lower. His economy, he